Good morning, everyone. In today's session, we'll be discussing about the capital structure decisions. Now, let us first understand what is the meaning of capital structure. Capital structure refers to a mix between owners and borrowed fund or the proportion of debt capital and equity capital in the total capital of the business. Means that out of the total capital, what is going to be the proportion of the owner's fund and what is going to be the proportion of your borrowed fund. This is what we mean by the capital structure of any organization. It can be calculated as a debt equity ratio. Now see, if we want to calculate debt equity ratio, the formula for calculating debt equity ratio is debt upon equity. The proportion can also be studied with the help of another ratio, that is the proportion of debt out of total capital. Out of total capital means your total capital employed. Now see, bache, there is a difference between capital and capital employed. Capital is the amount which is invested by the owner of the business, whereas capital employed is the sum total of your owner's fund and your long-term debt, that is borrowed fund. So your total capital is the total of owner's fund, that is equity share capital, and borrowed fund, that is debentures. So another ratio which will help us to know our capital structure could be the proportion of debt out of total capital, and the formula for calculating this ratio is debt upon debt plus equity. So debt plus equity is your total capital employed. So the proportion of debt out of total capital can be studied by debt upon debt plus equity. Let's understand what is owner's fund. Owner's fund is equity. It consists of equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surpluses, and retained earnings. Means all that amount which belongs to the owners of the company of your business is your owner's fund. It is in the form of, owner's fund is in the form of equity share capital, preference share capital, reserves and surplus, and retained earnings. Whereas borrowed fund consists of loans which you have taken on a long-term basis from any bank or financial institution, debentures, public deposits. They may be borrowed from banks, other financial institutions, debenture holders, and public. Now, both your borrowed fund, that is debt, and your owner's fund, that is equity, has to be compared with respect to cost and riskiness in order to decide that what capital structure should be adopted by the company. हम अपनी कंपनी में बेटा कितना परसेंट डेट रखें और कितना परसेंट इक्विटी रखें. Means let's say the company has to decide whether it has to go for 40% debt, 60% equity, or 50% debt, 50% equity. Now this decision the company has to take by comparing the cost and riskiness of the various sources of finance in hand. We already know that if we talk about the cost of your borrowed fund, that is debt, is less than the cost of equity. See, debt is the cheapest source of finance. Debt is the cheapest source of finance. So if we compare debt and equity with respect to cost of debt is less than cost of equity. Whereas if we compare debt and equity in terms of riskiness, the debt is the riskiest instrument of your source of finance as compared to your equity. So risk of debt is greater than risk of raising funds through equity. Now, the reason is that payment of interest and return of principal amount is obligatory in case of debt, and any default in meeting these commitments may force the business to go into liquidation. Fine. If the company is unable to pay the amount of interest and the principal amount of the debt in time, the debenture holders or your creditors, they are having charge on your assets. They can sell your assets at any time if you fail to pay the amount of debt along with the interest, and they can recover their amount. So that is why it is being said that debt is the riskiest source of finance, and it may force the company to go into liquidation too. There is no such compulsion in equity, which is considered riskless for business, because see, the return to equity shareholders are in the form of dividend. Now the company will pay dividend only if they are going to earn sufficient profits. If there are no profits in the company may not give dividend to the equity shareholders. So the company is, you can say that the risk involved by issuing equity shareholders to raise finance is less. So this is financial risk, which means the firm's chance of failure to meet its payment obligation. So in nutshell, if I conclude, again, if we compare debt and equity, the cost of debt is less than the cost of equity. And if we compare both sources of finance with respect to riskiness, risk of debt is greater than the risk of equity. Now, capital structure affects both profitability and financial risk of any business. Capital structure affects both profitability and financial risk of any business. A capital structure is said to be optimal when the proportion of debt and equity is such that it results in an increase in the value of the equity shares. Now, by this statement, we mean that we should design our capital structure in such a manner, or we can say that the capital structure is optimal when the proportion of debt and equity is being designed or is being put in such a manner that the share price, the market price of the share gets increased, which in turn is going to increase the value of the equity shareholders, which is the ultimate objective of the financial management, that is to increase the wealth of the shareholders. But every decision in financial management, be it be designing a capital structure or financing decision or investing decision or a dividend decision, all are going to, we say that they are going to be optimal when ultimately all those decisions are going to lead to increase in the market price of the shares, which in turn is going to increase the value of the equity share. Now let's learn about the few more terms. First is your financial leverage and trading on equity. Now the proportion of debt in overall capital is also called financial leverage. Financial leverage means that what is the total proportion of your debt in your total capital employed of the company. So financial leverage is computed as, just as we have discussed in the previous slides also, as D oblique D plus E, where D stands for your total debt in the capital structure and E stands for your total equity in your capital structure. So basically, financial leverage is computed by debt upon your total capital employed. Now, as the financial leverage increases, the cost of funds decline, but the financial risk increases. We know that debt is the cheapest source of finance. तो बेटा अगर मैं अपने कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में डेट का प्रपोर्शन बढ़ा देती हूँ, इफ आई एम गोइंग टू इंक्रीज द प्रपोर्शन ऑफ डेट इन माय कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर, तो मेरी जो कॉस्ट होगी, ओवरऑल कॉस्ट ऑफ रेजिंग द फंड, वो कम हो जाएगी. लेकिन अगर डेट ज्यादा है मेरे कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में, we also know that debt is the riskiest source of finance. So by increasing the debt in my capital structure, my financial risk increases. So in nutshell, as the financial leverage increases, the cost of funds decline, but the financial risk increases. Now let's learn the new term EBIT and EPS analysis. See, EBIT, EPS analysis means EBIT is earning before interest and tax, fine, and EPS is earning per share. So we are going to study that what if, that how much debt and how much equity we are going to keep in our capital structure so that our earning per share increases, right? How much in our capital structure, how much proportion of debt and how much proportion of equity we are going to keep so that our earning per share increases. See, if our earning per share will increase, then the market price of the share will increase. Market price of share will increase, and in turn, the objective of wealth maximization of shareholder will be achieved, which was the ultimate objective of our financial management. So let us understand this EBIT EPS analysis with the help of one example. Let's say there is a company, fine, company X, and the total fund requirement of this company is 30 lakhs. If we are going to raise debt, the interest rate paid on debt is 10% per annum, and the tax rate on profits is 30%, which is to be paid to the government. Now, EBIT is 4 lakh. Now, let us see that there are three situations. The debt in the first situation is nil. See, if debt in the first situation is nil, debt equity. Fine, this is what our capital structure is all about. In first situation, fine, situation 1, debt is nil. That means our total fund requirement of 30 lakh is being met by raising equity. Fine. Now see the second, in the second situation, the debt raised is 10 lakh. Second situation, debt raised is 10 lakh. Fine. If debt rate is raised is 10 lakh, again total fund requirement is 30 lakh. So equity amount raised by issuing equity will be 20 lakh. The third situation where debt raised is 20 lakh. So if debt raised in the capital structure is 20 lakh, so the amount raised by issuing equity will be 10 lakh. And you can see that the sum total of all the three situations or three combinations of our debt and equity is 30 lakhs. It is 30 lakhs. Fine. Now, let's at this point only, if we say that the face value of one share is equal to rupees 10. Face value means the nominal value at which the company issues the share. If it is rupees 10, then the number of equity shares raised in the first case will be, see, in first case, number of equity shares number of equity shares raised will be 30 lakhs divided by 10, which is equal to 3 lakh. So 3 lakh is the number of equity shares which are raised by issuing equity. In the second situation, see, you are having, if I make a column number of equity shares here only. So in the first case, it was number of equity shares. This is how we are going to calculate it. First case, it was 3 lakh. Now 20 lakh divided by the face value of one share. Number of equity shares raised will be 2 lakh. And in the third case, 10 lakh divided by 10. So the number of equity shares raised will be 1 lakh. Let me recapitulate how I calculated the number of equity shares. I divided the total value of the equity with the face value of each share, which is 10. If nothing is given in the question, so we always assume that the nominal value or the face value of one equity share is 10. तो बेटा आप देखिए फर्स्ट सिचुएशन में अगर 30 लाख रुपीस के 30 लाख रुपीस जो थे वो हमने इक्विटी से रेज किए हैं. सो अगर मुझे ये पता लगाना है कि नंबर ऑफ इक्विटी शेयर्स कितने रेज हुए, तो 30 लाख डिवाइडेड बाय 10, number of equity shares raised are 3 lakh. Similarly, in situation 2, 20 lakh divided by 10, 2 lakh. In situation 3, 10 lakh divided by 10, which is equal to 1 lakh. So the total number of equity shares raised in the three cases are respectively situation 1, 3 lakh, situation 2, 2 lakh, situation 3, 1 lakh. Now let's continue with the example, and we are going to have again the same three situation. See, the EBIT remains the same in all the three situations, where in first case debt was nil, second case debt was 10 lakh, third case debt was 20 lakh. So EBIT is rupees 4 lakh. EBIT is rupees 4 lakh in all the three situations. Fine. Now we know that EBIT is earning before interest and tax. Earnings before interest and tax. So obviously these are those earnings of the business from which interest obligation has not been subtracted. तो सबसे पहला मेरा स्टेप क्या होता है, बिकॉज आई नो दैट इंटरेस्ट इज अ चार्ज अगेंस्ट प्रॉफिट. इंटरेस्ट इज चार्ज अगेंस्ट प्रॉफिट. So I'm going to subtract interest at the rate of 10% per annum. Now interest is going to be charged on debt. In the first situation where there is no debt, so interest will be nil. In the second situation, the debt was 10 lakh. 10 lakh पे 10%, interest will be 1 lakh. So I'm going to subtract 1 lakh from the EBIT. And in the third situation, the total debt used in the capital structure was 20 lakh. So the interest obligation will be 20 lakh ka 10%, which is equal to 2 lakh. And I'm going to get, after subtracting interest, I'm going to get earning before tax. Now interest तो हमने subtract कर दिया, तो मेरे पास क्या आ जाएगा, earning before tax. Earning before tax in first case will be 4 lakh. Second case, second situation 3 lakh, and third situation 2 lakh. अब ये मेरे पास जो earnings आई बेटा, ये before tax है, and I know that tax rate is at the rate of 30%, which will go to the government. So tax at the rate of 30%. Now I'm going to subtract tax. So 30% of 4 lakh is 1,20,000. 30% of 3 lakh is 90,000 and 30% of 2 lakh is 60,000. Fine. So now the earnings which I get is earnings after tax. These are the earnings after tax. And if I calculate the earnings after tax, in first situation, earnings after tax are 2,80,000. Earning after tax in second situation is 2,10,000. And in the third situation, it is 1,40,000. Now, these earnings are available to the equity shareholders. Now, if I want to calculate that what is earning per share, what should I do? I will divide earning after tax by the number of equity shareholders. If I'm going to do so, I am going to get earning per share, that is EPS. So 2,10,000 divided by the number of equity shares in first case was, if we recall, 3 lakh. Second case, it was 2 lakh. Third case, it was 1 lakh. Fine. So if I divide 2,80,000 by 3 lakh, fine, the resultant figure would be 0.93. So the earning per share is 0.93. If I divide 2,10,000 by the number of equity shares, that is 2 lakh, the earning per share will be 1.05. And if I divide 1,40,000 by the number of equity shares, 1 lakh in the third situation, the earning per share is 1.4. Now, you see, as we are increasing the debt in our capital structure from one situation to another, first situation mein interest on debt was nil because there was no debt. Then debt rose to 10 lakh, then debt rose to 20 lakh. So you can see that as debt in the capital structure is increasing, earning per share is also increasing. As long as it is increasing, the earning per share from 0.93 to 1.05 to 1.4. जैसे जैसे डेट मेरे कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में बढ़ता जा रहा है, मेरी अर्निंग पर शेयर भी बढ़ती जा रही है. नाउ द क्वेश्चन अराइजेस कि अर्निंग पर शेयर कब तक ऐसे ही बढ़ेगी? क्या मैं पूरा अपना कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में डेट रख लूं, बिकॉज डेट इज द चीपेस्ट सोर्स ऑफ फाइनेंस, और अर्निंग पर शेयर इंक्रीज होती जा रही है. फाइन. सी, देयर शुड बी अ सर्टेन लिमिट ना. We cannot increase this earning per share infinitely. Fine. And I don't find any company or any organization which is 100% debt financed. जो पूरी की पूरी आपकी डेट से फाइनेंस हो, ऐसा भी पॉसिबल नहीं है. तो देयर शुड बी अ सर्टेन लिमिट. तो हमें कैसे पता चलेगा कि हमने कितना डेट रखना है और कितना इक्विटी रखना है? कब तक डेट हम अपने कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में रेज कर सकते हैं? Now, to give the answer of this question, let us first calculate return on investment. Return on investment, and the formula for calculating return on investment is EBIT upon total capital employed into 100. Now, in our case, EBIT was 4 lakh. Total capital employed, either in the form of debt or in the form of equity, it's the total requirement of fund, and the total requirement of fund was 30 lakhs. Fine. Multiplied by 100. So if I simplify it, 3 I have deducted from here. So 40 divided by 3. So if I divide 40 by 3, I'm going to get 13.33%. Fine. Since the return on investment is greater than the cost of raising fund, and the cost of raising fund was your cost of debt only. Cost of raising fund was nothing but cost of debt only, which is your interest obligation. So since 13.33% is greater than, हमारे क्वेश्चन में कॉस्ट ऑफ रेजिंग फंड थी 10%. फाइन, मतलब मैं फंड को 10% पे ले रही हूं और आगे ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट्स में इन्वेस्ट कर रही हूं जिन पे मुझे इंटरेस्ट जो मिल रहा है या जो रिटर्न आ रही है वो 13.33% आ रही है. इफ दिस इज द केस, जब तक मेरा आरओआई, रिटर्न ऑन इन्वेस्टमेंट, कॉस्ट ऑफ रेजिंग फंड दैट इज कॉस्ट ऑफ डेट से ज्यादा रहेगा, तब तक मैं अपने कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में डेट रेज करके अर्निंग पर शेयर को इंक्रीज कर सकती हूं. और इस मैकेनिज्म को बेटा हम कहते हैं ट्रेडिंग ऑन इक्विटी. This is termed as trading on equity. Fine. That is use of capital structure, the cheapest source of finance in our capital structure, so long as our ROI is greater than the cost of raising fund through debt, that is cost of debt. Fine. If this is the case, then जब तक ये ज्यादा रहेगा तब तक मैं अपने कैपिटल स्ट्रक्चर में डेट को रेज करके रिटर्न उससे ज्यादा अर्न कर सकती हूँ और मेरा अर्निंग पर शेयर तब तक इंक्रीज होता रहेगा. I hope that this concept is clear to all of you.